I have danced for 15 to 16 years.
I am not a trained dancer.
I would also argue that I've danced since being born.
My name is Elise and I am a senior environmental science major, and I did gymnastics when I was little. I was a really shy dancer and kid in general, and I also like dancing at concerts and dancing like informally, but this is my first semester doing formal productions and classes in dance.
My name is Anna Stenerson. I am a third year, a junior. My major is social work with minors in music and dance. I have danced since I was 4 or 5, and now I'm 21. So what is that? 15, 16 years? Dance at Luther is hard for me to describe in this current moment because it means so much to me. You can't put it into words in some ways.
Dance at Luther is so different and unique.
In your classes, there's no ballet or jazz or the typical things.
I have this image of in my head of like choreography and like you do this exactly with this technique, but like in Dance at Luther, we can move however you feel you want to or your body needs.
It lets your body be the leader. It's a lot of interpretive, modern, contemporary style dance.
And so these come together in like this magical space that feels safe and welcoming no matter where you're coming from in your dance experience or your life experience. So Soul of Soil began in the brains of Jane and Jody Enos-Borlaug. And Jody is a microbiologist, and Jane is, of course, this lovely dance professor that we have. And so it mostly starts with Jane and Jody talking and kind of blending the science with the movement.
The first question that came up is how are we connected to the soil, and how do we make people reconnect with it? It's just very like brainstorming and kind of like boundless, like there's no wrong answer. The evening length work isn't established like at the beginning, at least for this production. We gradually played around with things.
And a lot of it is like, okay, this looks good, let's change this, let's adjust. As a community,
everyone is valued in the production, and we didn't just take dancers. Like we took some people who don't have much training in dance because they've got the science brain or they're interested in doing it, and it's still possible for people to be a part of it.
When the show first started, we first started rehearsing, I introduced myself as a science brain and not a dance brain. Because that was the background that I was coming with, and I am interested in environmental science and biology and climate change.
I joined the Soul of Soil production because I care about the earth, and I don't have a science-y brain. That's not something that I'm great at, but I do have a dancer brain. I want to connect and bridge.
I told Anna, actually, I was like, Anna, I feel this like gut feeling that this would be scary for me, and it would be challenging, and it would be rewarding, and it would be a combination of all of my interests and my passions deep down. She was like, Elise, like, do it, listen to that. And so I did, and it turned out to be like one of my favorite things I've done in my life and in my college career. I just find like every part of myself in Soul of Soil. So it started as just a scientific element, and then it moved into so much more that like my heart is so full. Before I started Soul of Soil, I thought it was going to be scarier than it has been. I almost didn't do it. And I almost didn't take my contact improv class. I am not a trained dancer, and so I was very hesitant and scared to put myself in a space where I knew that there was going to be people who were more experienced than I was. It's been hard to not compare myself to other people. We all do that every moment of our lives, it feels like. I have to like take a step back and kind of talk to myself and be like, Ellie, like, this is new. You're allowed to like move differently than other people. This is my own style of movement. It's going to look different. In the beginning process, I saw like everyone else, oh, they're dancers. I'm learning how to dance. And now I am a dancer, and they are also dancers. And literally everyone is a dancer. I just keep thinking about that. I love so many things about dance.
Dancing makes me feel the most worthy, and it makes me feel like the most known.
I love the way my body feels and the way I view my body when I'm dancing. Like the softness and the power and the strength.
So when I'm not feeling good in my body and how I physically am perceived, I remember that whenever I'm dancing, I feel beautiful, and that's really helpful. Whether that's like dancing at Holding Hemlock or Driftless Jazz, I'm beautiful, or whether that's me like dancing to a song like while I'm doing homework a little bit, I'm still beautiful.
I'm using muscles and parts of my body that I used as a gymnast when I was younger, which is really interesting to like work on healing that like inner child that loved this type of movement. I sometimes feel like I'm in my child body again.
Something about Luther dance or contemporary interpretive dance is that some people don't get it, and that's okay. And some people think it's really weird in a bad way.
When people place their own judgments on this type of dance, I feel sad for them. I really do, because the way that I view my body and view my movements like has changed the way I live.
And what I remember or say to those people is that any way the body moves for itself in a way that's not harming other people, any way the body moves is human, because we are human, so everything that we do is somewhat natural.
And I appreciate movements like that. I know that that's art, and I know that that is dance. I know that what we're doing is meaningful and important. I like grieve for the people that can't see this as beauty.
This is what is important to me, and it makes sense to me, and it looks weird in a beautiful way to me.
And I want so badly to scrub my perception of this like into people's eyes. I feel like this when people say, they look at a piece of art, they're like, oh, I could do that. They're like, oh, is that even art? Of course it is. Like, human bodies have made that. And like, it has come from the mind and the heart of a being, so it is art. I still get this feeling when I start dancing, but this semester has been so heavy with anxiety and figuring out that part of my brain. And I told my doctor even that like as soon as I start dancing, it feels like it all just like slowly comes out of my body. Like that's how I visualize it happening. And the more I move, the more I dance, like I don't feel it at all. I'm not like thinking about that.
Dance makes me feel at peace, because I know that with almost anything that comes up in my life, in some way I'll be able to dance it out or move through it. And if it still is tumultuous, then I have a really cool emotional or deep thing to make art about.
And that has been like the most consistent part of my self-care routine now. And I started to realize that like, okay, I can be messy in that space. I don't have to point my toes all the time. I don't have to be this structured dancer that a lot of people think dance is. I can be anything I want to be when I'm dancing. And that is what pushing myself out of my comfort zone has taught me, that this really is a part of who I am.